Welcome to MarcusG.tv. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. I'm a chef on a mission. Today's mission is wine. I love wine. It's one of my downfalls to my health. I do love wine. I own a restaurant. We have 250 wines, and I'm constantly tasting different wines. There's a few wines on my desk. Some really awesome, organically produced, sustainably produced wines, and that's what today's topic is. Is there's really no reason not to be drinking organic wine. And that's an interesting topic because there's a negative connotation on organic wine. So here's an article from, let's see, Drink Up, and this is August 6, 2016. People are often willing to pay more for organic meat and produce, expecting higher quality products and a smaller impact on the environment. But wine is a different story. Wine lovers tend to be suspicious of organic offerings, but a new study shows they might be missing out on some high quality wines. The study, published online August 2nd in the American Journal of Wine Economics, used the professional ratings of more than 70,000 California wines to determine if there was a quality difference between wines produced under the environmentally friendly conditions and those using grapes grown with conventional pesticides and fertilizers. For red wines, an eco-friendly certification from the USDA or Demeter Association resulted in an average rating bump of 5.6 points. That's huge, 5.6 points. The numbers came from 11 years of wine ratings from Wine Spectator, Wine Enthusiast, and Wine Advocate. These magazines all use blind taste to rate wines on a 100-point scale, and their ratings are widely respected by consumers. So Wine Spectator, Wine Enthusiast, Wine Advocate, the three big authorities out there, they blind taste wines. They have panels that blind taste wines all day. The wines are covered. They taste them based upon categories, and they rate them, not knowing if they're organic, not knowing where they're from, not knowing a lot of things about the wine. It's just a blind tasting. A friend of mine does this for Wine Spectator, and totally unbiased, so they have no clue what's going on. But even with a favorable rating, eco-friendly wines have a bad reputation with many wine shoppers. There's a negative perception of organic wine, says Magali Dalmas, economist at the University of California, Los Angeles, one of the authors of the study. Wine producers are increasingly using environmentally friendly practices such as organic grape growing and biodynamics, and not advertising that on their labels. Yes, they're not putting it on their labels because this article says they don't want to be like ignored or be like pushed off or say, oh, that's organic wine. I don't want that, because there's been a real negative connotation on organic wine for years. But here's the funny thing. The great chateaus of Burgundy, Bordeaux, the great producers of France, and even in Italy, most of these people produce organically to begin with because they're not stupid. They understand that there's a direct correlation between the quality of the soil and the quality of the grapes and the quality of the wine. So these houses have been making organic and biodynamic for centuries, way, way, way before there was a such thing as conventional, okay? Because winemaking far outdates conventional agriculture practices where we had synthetics. So they've been doing it organically all along, and that's what they've done. So they feel that they don't need to buy a certification. They feel that they don't need to identify themselves. They feel this is the only legitimate way to grow grapes and to make wine is through organic methods. Of course, now here's the biggest difference. And the article states this: just because a wine is certified organic or the grapes are certified organic doesn't mean the whole wine is certified organic. And I always tell people this: you can buy wines that are made with USDA certified grapes inside this bottle, but that was what happened in the vineyard. But once it goes into the winery and they start putting it in the barrels and they start fermenting, they start adding yeast, sugar, whatever they're adding to it, that's when the conventional practices come in. They're adding egg whites that aren't organic. They're doing certain things that may not be organic. So keep that in mind. You can have a wine made with organically produced grapes, and you can have a wine where the whole wine is organic. So just the difference to look for. Grape growers are switching to organic production and biodynamic techniques, including foregoing synthetic pesticides and fertilizers, conserving water, and even setting aside land for biodiversity. There's a guy down here, Bashakil Vineyards. It's really cool because in between his vines, he's growing broccoli. That's like, wow, that's pretty cool, you know. So there's a lot of diversity going on these biodynamic vineyards, which is really, really cool that they're using the land for other things, or they have cover crops, or they're growing other things in between. Growers who make the switch argue their fruits have stronger terroir. This is interesting because I met with a Italian importer a couple years ago, and they were talking about all the wines that they were importing and how certain wineries are very conventional, and they're spraying, they're doing things, they're not organic. But the guy next to him is strictly biodynamic, and some of the wines they buy are biodynamic. And they said you can be sitting there, two vineyards side by side. One vineyard is working away, hustling their butt off, waiting for, doing this harvest because the grapes are like this. And the vineyard next to them, which is biodynamic, is just sitting there waiting for everything to align up and be perfect. And the guy's scratching his head at the conventional vineyard saying, what are they doing? Their grapes are out there too long. They're not doing this. It's overgrowing. And the importer was like, at the end of the day, the biodynamic guy is making fantastic wine. But it's something that customers just aren't after. They're not after that organic push on wines. And it's a really terrible disconnect because a lot of us do care about what we put into our bodies. But when it comes to wine, it's just like, oh well, whatever. So you can actually have fantastic tasting wine that is organically grown, organically certified, biodynamic, that is vegan. There's no egg whites in it. And have a great glass of wine at a good value. Some of the best producers out there in Burgundy, some of the most expensive wines out there are indeed 100% organic, biodynamic, and top quality. And that's what they've always done, and that's what they've always been doing. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. Thanks for watching this video. If you like my videos, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, and definitely pass it on.